I am going to attempt to make this t-shirt. This is the character Max from the video game Life is Strange. It's her Jane Doe t-shirt. Here's in Design Space where I just cleaned out the design. I've changed it to pink just to show for this demonstration. That's I have made a previous t-shirt and it didn't go good, so I'm making this video so hopefully help somebody else with my mistake. So the best thing to do, they say not to reverse your image when you're using freezer paper, but that by far was a mistake to me, because the mat would stick better to the sticky side of the freezer paper, and that's the part you actually are going to put against your t-shirt when you iron it. So what I did was I reversed that, and it looks like this. I have some other projects saved, so I'm doing white so it'll cut first. And so that's just the image reversed, and it looks a little different than this other image because I made a square and I cut part of this off and that part off. Also, another tip I found, we're making a t-shirt, to find the center. The easiest thing I could think to do is to make this box at 11 wide, and then I realized that I could go 5.5, and as long as that measured up with the middle of my shirt, it would be perfectly straight and centered and take a lot of the hassle and guesswork out of it. Here's what the freezer paper looks like. And this is the front side, well, one of the sides. And it's not something I don't think you can feel on camera, but there is one side that has a sticky feel to it, and I believe it's this one here. The best way to find out what side you're using and what's going to be what is to you can just take your iron and stick it on your t-shirt. Put a little bit of, just put the heat on it, and whatever side sticks to the shirt, you know is the right one. That's a good tip as well if you're not quite sure, and I had to learn that the hard way, because I spent one day making a different shirt, and it took like 20 takes, and I wasted so much freezer paper, and the freezer paper is expensive, so I was very upset by this. Yet, I will say that freezer paper is still cheaper than buying vinyl, and what we're trying to do today is a fabric, with the fabric I was using at that time, I was using the fabric paint. Now I'm going to use a spray paint version and see if I can get a better color, because I want to get a true white, because I didn't get a true white when I used the fabric paint on the black. It turned out cool, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. Okay, so all I did was hit duplicate so that I have two of these, because I'm making two t-shirts today, and I just wanted to give you the idea of the measurements. All I really did was key in here where it says height, the width and the height. I just put that in as a there, you can see it there, under where it says size, width 11. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the height is. In this case, it's 8.822. It probably will still be that for you because of the fact that it is a square. But the big deal is the width, so that you can measure that part there. I have adhered my freezer paper to my mat, and so the easiest way to know what side is which is the sticky side there's one side that will stick better to the mat than the other side, and so this top part has a bit of a texture to it, and this top part is what's going to go face down on your t-shirt when you iron it. So that's why you had to flip the design. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in my machine, in my Cricut Explorer machine, and I'm going to cut this. There is a freezer paper setting. That setting works excellent if you have a decent blade and if you have your new mat and everything. It'll cut beautifully, but I'm having an issue with my blade being dull, so I may have to tweak it a little bit. I may just use a fresh blade and just to not worry about anything not cutting perfectly. I'm telling you, it's worth the cost of a new blade just to not have hassle when you're cutting something, because if that blade is good, it cuts like butter. It's amazing. But I've used mine several times over and over, and then when I put a new blade in, I kept the other blade for some reason, which is stupid. So I don't recommend hanging on to old blades once you replace them, because you'll end up doing something like I did. Okay, well, you can't tell, but I've ironed this shirt and I folded it in half, and there is a faint line right here where I found the center. So I'm going to use that to put my design down. And I weeded the design, and I just want to show what it looked like weeded. Now I'll have to put the A back. So I'm going to take this off the mat and put it on the shirt, and then I'll show you ironing it. Okay, so another tip is I actually folded the freezer paper in half because this was a square, and so I lined it up, the fold, with what I had ironed, so I know it's straight. And so that's a good tip. And then I flipped it, so this is what it's going to look like, and you can feel that this is the shiny bit, and it's very smooth, and the other side has like a texture, so when I put the iron to it, it's going to go right down. So I'm going to iron it next. I just put the A back, so when you take it off the mat, the A is not there, so you just have to make sure you put the A on the right side, because if you don't, it will stick to your iron, and you will totally know that it's wrong. So I'm going to be back once I get the iron and make sure this is perfect, because right now it's kind of folding on me. I want to put a towel over it. Okay, so all I did was put a shirt over it. I can still kind of make out the Jane and the deer, and I'm just going to put my iron on, and the iron is set to almost steam, but we don't want steam, so I'm just kind of tacking it down, and I'm going to go back. Oops. Yeah, kind of tack it, that way you're not having it move on you. And I didn't iron the shirt ahead of time, so apologize for that. Alright, and the cool thing is you sort of can reposition it once you take it off. So, that did not stick at all. Okay. So yeah, that was a waste of time. Alright, so no shirt needed. Alright. You can go right on it. And you don't have to have it on there long. Okay, I'm gonna make sure my design is good. Fudge sticks. See? Alright, so and then that bit will go down. See, it's perfect. Alright, so then you kind of feel around and you can feel that it's ironed down really well. And so we're going to wait and let this cool. I'm going to go over that bit again. Be right back after it cools. Okay, so I hodgepodged some overspray because that way when I spray it, I'm not going to get it on the t-shirt where I don't want it. So I'm going to use this Tulip Color Shot Instant Fabric Color. It says it dries soft, quick dry, even coverage. The fabric paint I used by Puffy, I mean, you could use it, but when I did the white, it wasn't a crisp white. It was more of a mottled, so you could see through it. It was just a bit too clear for my taste. So it says to shake the can for a full minute. I shook it a little bit prior to hitting the button to film. Now I'm going to lightly spray it. It says just do a light even coat, so hopefully this works out well. Cross your fingers for me. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Well, so far so good. Whoops. I think I got too close too. Alright. It says to let dry 5 minutes between coats. So I think that's probably way too much, but I wanted to. So I got that that J is pretty perfect, so like you can't see the J at all. I'm thinking I went way too much. Hopefully it didn't bleed. Hopefully it did not bleed. I'm using the back of the contact paper so that I can, because I'm not gonna, like, I can still use that contact paper. Hopefully it won't be wasted, so I'll wait 5 minutes. I'm gonna spray it again. Maybe I can spray one more time. Maybe just to push the button. Oh, okay, so that's going a little bit better. But I still think just pushing the button, holding it down. Yeah, holding it down is better than what I just did. Okay, we'll let it dry, and I'll be back. Okay, so I ended up going ahead and peeling it up because I noticed where it had come around the sides, even though I had masked it pretty good. So I guess I just used way too much spray when I did it because I didn't put a little bit and let it dry, and it went, and it may be that I tilted to the side and not did a little short burst of whatever. So I've got this like halo effect, and it's not good. And I don't know, I don't think that if I even put it through the washer that I would be able to save this. I like tried to put some soap, but it seems like it's pretty well in there. I don't know. But either way, like I don't know that would hurt it to send it through the washing machine. So it says to wait 72 hours after it dries, so I could try it and see what happens, but yeah, I'm not happy with this. So it was a $3 t-shirt from Walmart, so I can go get another t-shirt at least. I'm going to try it again with this other. I'm going to do different things and see if that maybe works out better. Okay, new t-shirt. The other one is completely ruined, so I'm going to just go directly onto that and iron down just like I was supposed to do before I wore that t-shirt. So I'm just going to continue ironing and I'm going to come back. Okay, so I've masked this, I've ironed it. We're going to try this again and try to do a straight burst, quick little burst, and we're going to try to let it dry. This is what we're going to do. See how it's pooling where I did too much, so try to do a light spray. Just held down the trigger, light spray, and let it dry. And come back and try it again. Okay. Next coat, I had waited 5 minutes. Otherwise it pools on the side. It's so stupid. You can't. I will not be repurchasing this product. I've almost used the entire can, and it's just not worth it. You should be able to do more than just one can. Okay, so what I ended up doing was taking this puffy paint. It's permanent non-toxic by Tulip. and I just went over the entire design. For the deer, I used a spatula from Cricut to go over it and kind of straighten it away because I didn't want it to look streaky. So I kind of did like this and everything. I think I got the deer pretty well. It took a lot though to make the deer look like that, and like a lot of effort going back and forth over it. It didn't take very much product actually. And I'd already used this puff paint for an entire other shirt. Also, I tried dabbing this little felt ball because I didn't have my regular brush. I was going to just go like that, but it was too faint again. I didn't like it, so I did it this way. And it's supposed to be drying for 4 hours. At this point, you can go ahead and take it up. It's not like the other paint that made a big mess, so that's one good thing about it. There's several pros and cons to everything, but we'll see how it looks once I take it off. Okay, so I removed the freezer paper, and other than whatever this is probably the spray. That's stupid fabric spray, which makes the deer look bad. It might like fix itself once I actually wash it. I don't know. I hope it does. So doing the puff paint over it, I think, was a success. There was a bit here, there, and then the cool thing is I took the freezer paper off while it was still a little wet, and then I went in and there was a couple little places that like it had gotten too thick, so I just kind of fixed that, if you will, because like I could tell there were some places and I was able to just, and it's still a little wet, and I can just take my finger, go along the edge, and see it's still wet. So and it's drying, so it's good. So there was just a couple of places that were just a little bit too thick, so I was able to just do that with my hand. So all in all, this one turned out okay, except for that part, which is an unfortunate place for the deer. If it was at the bottom, it would have looked cool, but since it's right there, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't know if you can see. A bad place to be right beside the deer's butt and having like an aura, like a light on it. Yeah, like the deer's farting. Okay, here's the one I did earlier, and it looks horrible, really bad. I mean, it's not what I wanted. It's not this. So yeah, it doesn't look anything like the game. The only thing I will say is because I dumped it right in the water, and I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to get this bit off. I'm going to keep doing it until we're left with like that. And then I'm going to try going over it with puff paint, and again with puff paint, and I'm going to try doing it with like maybe a black or another color, and then the white will be like an accent, and then the shadow effect might look okay. It might look on purpose. But the unfortunate thing is it does not match the other shirt like I was wanting it for. So I'm going to try to fix this, and when I do, I will try to post that. We'll come back with that maybe. But right now it's wet, and all I can think of is to take an emery board and or my finger rather, just keep going on it. I've got this here, this scruffy thing, and yeah, it's coming off with that. So this is what I'm going to do for the next hour or so. Just sit around and scrape that off. And, yeah, that's me. That's my day. Scraping paint. Maybe I'll try to come back after I scrape it off. I'm going to scrape it off, and then, it'll need to finish in the washer, I guess, and then I'll need to dry it.